Hello, I'm Emma Thompson. I'm Chief Executive here at SOE. To celebrate National Apprentice Week, I'm joined here today by Lawrie Alford, a member of our road transport sector. Lawrie started his career as a technical apprentice in road transport more than 30 years ago and is here today as a STEM ambassador and presenter for the DFE Apprenticeship Support and Knowledge Team. Thank you, Lawrie, for coming today. Can you please tell us a bit more about your experience in the industry?
I can. It was 30 years ago and a bit more actually, but I started off as a technical apprentice. And if you think luck is being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude, I think I had that. I was really fortunate. So my apprenticeship was with Whitbreads. They're still a top 10 employer for apprentices. And I had a golden apprenticeship. It was almost the same as a degree apprenticeship is now. I started at 16, so I left school at 16 knowing what I wanted to do, which is a massive advantage. And I had a passion, first of all, for cars, mad on cars at 14, had a socket set at 15, and started taking it to bits. And that was kind of the passion I needed at that early stage. But it really held me in good stead. My first experience of my apprenticeship with Whitbreads was on day one, I was told about the O license, the operator license. I was working with trucks, so we needed an operator license. Never compromise the O license was my first lesson in this job, and it's held me in good stead ever since for those 30 plus years. And I still think it's really important. And it's important for every apprentice in any industry to know what the rules are and the regulation. And in our industry, it's O licensing. Finished my apprenticeship, went into the utility sector. Again, right place, right time, and right attitude, I think. The passion took me to the next stage. Fascinating industry. Uh, I had to manage vans, trucks, but also plant. And the plant side actually grabbed me just as much as the trucks. But I was really lucky to be in the water industry at a time of massive change. I got promoted 3 times in 3 years.
Wow.
Not that I'm great, and I'm not. It was just the right place at the right time with the right qualifications. So I went from an assistant transport manager to group fleet engineer for the whole three or four counties that we were covering, and it was a massive fleet. The interesting part of it after that was I went into the leasing sector, all by moving within the same company, and it ended up with GE, General Electric, biggest company in the world at the time, massive banking sector, and I started to learn about the finance, total cost of ownership for all types of vehicles. And it's held me in good stead, as I said earlier, not just the technical side, but also the business administration and knowing about the industry as a whole and customers. Learning about how to treat customers is key. So the apprenticeship at the start has been key for where I am now and what I do now in the classroom. But the last part of my roles before starting up at ATC was with Logistics UK, and that's when I got to work with yourself
Yeah.
and the IRTE, and we came up with ERTEC, or you came up with ERTEC, and we managed part of it for you. And it's a golden part of what we deliver together, getting O licensing information to technicians, getting accreditation to technicians. It's a key part of what follows after the apprenticeship. And that's something that isn't often talked about in schools. So, yeah, very fortunate. Love what I do now, just as passionate about everything that we do. And I think that's key. But getting this over in a school to 15, 16, 17-year-olds that want to join our industry, it's a good background to talk about how diverse it is, what the opportunities are, and where you can go after your apprenticeship. It's key.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a varied and exciting career that you've
Oh,
had today.
very,
It's
very fortunate.
fascinating.
It is. Yeah.
But how did you become involved with apprentices?
In 2000, 2001, I was an industry mentor, and that was really interesting of learning how to motivate people generally. But apprenticeships was always in the back of my mind. I really need to get into schools and pass on the part of the industry that we both love, really. So I become a STEM ambassador. That's the badge, by the way. It's a really good thing to get involved with. And I think if there are any other members in IRTE and SOE that want to do something for schools and back for the industry, the first thing I would suggest is becoming a STEM ambassador. So I am linked with the University of Canterbury. We get lists of what we can do over the next 3 or 4 months, and it's a rolling 3 or 4 months. So you can really get involved, and the local schools. So you're DBS checked that you can go into schools, which is important. Once teachers locally get to know you, you then will get invited to career hub days and able to deliver presentations, sometimes that they want you to do. Sometimes it can be on business awareness, it can be on technical aspects, it can be on our industry. But it's a great way of passing on the knowledge of our industry to young people. And the feedback is fantastic. It also gets you to places that you want to go to as a customer, perhaps. So I go to Goodwood, I go to motorsport events, and I literally have a stand with apprentices on, and it's like a magnet to everyone that's done an apprenticeship, perhaps to the dads and the uncles and the aunties and the mums that want their children to do an apprenticeship. They just want to talk about it. And luckily, the combination of the STEM information, which I will talk about later, and some of the career hubs information, it's a great thing to do, really enjoyable, and you are passing on some valuable knowledge.
Thank you, Lawrie. Can you talk me through the benefits of apprenticeships, especially for school and college leavers?
Well, the first thing we tend to do is an assembly in the school. So you can have a year group, let's say of 350 people, 15, 16-year-olds just about to leave school. Not everyone wants to go to university. So you've got the audience to start with. And I get 20 minutes normally before the bell rings, and you can't go over the bell. You get really well disciplined in presenting when you know you've got a start and finish time. Sometimes it's 15, but it's a warm up for the workshops that follow, which we'll talk about later. But the main wins and the main message to get across in 15 minutes are the 5 S's. So first of all, it's S for structure. So imagine when you were 16, not knowing what you wanted to do, perhaps. The structure might actually sound as a negative to you because you think, oh, I want to get out of school and I want to have the freedom. But structure in an apprenticeship is different, and it's really important because an apprenticeship is a real job. You go to a place of work, you know your hours, and you know what you're going to be working for. And most of it is for yourself. And you're choosing a subject that you want to do. So if you like school, brilliant. If school is not your thing, but you know you're able to learn, you're going to pick one subject that you really want to do, and then you're going to focus on it. And learning becomes a real joy, and you learn to self-learn. So structure is the real job. The next S is skills and standards. So there are over 700 different apprenticeships out there. This is my first prop of the day. To anyone that's watching this that wants to be an apprentice, download this document. It's the A to Z of apprenticeships. It includes all of the apprenticeships for our industry. It also includes the 4 levels of apprenticeship. So there is something for everyone in a room of 350. It's a very, very good document. It's about to be reissued, but it's really solid information. The A to Z of apprenticeships. It's a great place to start. So it will show you the types of apprenticeship and the standards that's expected from level 2 to level 3, which is advanced apprenticeship, up to higher and degree apprenticeships. So you get a really good grounding at the assembly of what we're going to talk about. So we've got structure, skills, standards, support. Lots of people are frightened of leaving school at 16. So what we need to do is inform them about the support that's available. So when you start work, we don't just leave you to get on with it, far from it. We probably give you a mentor that's probably 2 or 3 years into their apprenticeship. They know the ropes, they will guide you. We also talk about their management team, we talk about the college that they're going to. Everyone wants you to succeed if you're doing an apprenticeship. So the support is marvellous, really. We talk about salary, you get paid. You get paid about £300 a week at 16. That might not sound a lot to most adults, but at 16, you're getting paid to be trained. The training is free, and there's no debt. So if you go to university, the average debt's about 53,000 these days. With an apprenticeship, whichever one you choose, as long as it's one that you really, really want to do, have the passion in, it's all paid for. And then within the last few minutes, I talk about success. So we talk about how successful many people have been by doing an apprenticeship to start with. Many captains of industry started off with a technical apprenticeship, and they are really, really good. To talk about what follows an apprenticeship is very, very important, and it's not often covered in schools. So it's only by people with experience and going in from people from places like the SOE,
Yeah.
real industry background, that really gets the message across. And you can have a whole career in one industry, but still have a diverse list of career options,
Yeah.
as we've shown.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier about doing presentations at schools at assemblies, and they can be a varied of different subjects.
Yeah.
Could you just explain some of those subjects you would cover?
Well, I usually use this. So I've shown you the
Yeah.
prop. When there's
Yeah.
700 different subjects to pick,
Yeah.
I let the audience choose. So they're very interactive. They're very PowerPoint light on purpose. The aim is to get the audience involved and to actually show something about themselves if they can when they want to get involved. So you ask from the audience when you can, is there anyone here, first of all, that wants to do an apprenticeship, and what sector do you want? And then I can show and illustrate all of the different types. Sometimes I'm asked to do one on logistics, automotive, or business because of my background, and then we will go into much more detail. But realistically, if it's 20 minutes, my 20 minutes is up pretty quick. It's all about getting then into the workshop and talk about the details in the workshop that follows, the mock assessment centre.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, you're gauging their interest by asking them what they want.
Absolutely. And you've hit the nail on the head here, because it's very easy. You will see lots of press releases and lots of information where the employers are talked about in great detail, and it's vital. But we really got to get our heads around how we communicate to students in school. Some career hubs are fantastic, by the way. In fact, many of them are. But it's getting industry people in that's key to make people think, oh, this is real. Having a teacher deliver it might not be the best answer, because it's the teacher that delivers whatever subject they're doing. Having someone from outside with industry experience usually captures the audience. And some of the audience, just to give you some warning for anyone who's thinking of this, there will be some scallywags in the class. If you've got 350 students, there's going to be some there that start off and you think, oh, this is going to be fun. So my first question at assembly is, how many people here want to do an apprenticeship? And the hands go up, which is great. So they're acknowledging they're going to get involved. But it's quite interesting how many of the scallywags are the ones that put their hand up, and then they are really interesting to, you can then ask them directly, because they're putting themselves forward in a way. Right, rather than send them out of the room, which sometimes might be the answer for some students, I guess. Not in my class. In my class, they come forward and we ask them questions. And you see people shine. It's fantastic. So they just actually want to be heard and show where their passions are. It's really, really good experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Following on from that, why are mock assessment centres workshops so important for students? And typically, what interview questions do you always ask?
Well, the mock assessment centres are daunting if you don't know what's coming your way. And they are for adults and people that have done interviews. A mock assessment day is quite often a full day away from home. It's usually in a smart hotel, quite locally based. But you will have, say, 100 people apply for an apprenticeship role. Perhaps 30 go through the sifting process and the first shortlisting. And those 30 might come along for an event known as an assessment centre day. And it's the time when you're going to be interviewed. It's a time when you might have to do a group activity. It's a time when you're likely to find out a lot more about customer relations, the company you're hoping to join. And it is daunting the first one or two you do. If you're not prepared, you might not perform at your best. So what I'm trying to do is mock assessment centres, so when the real one comes along, you are much more confident about attending it and delivering the best of yourself. So at least get into the short list of 100 down to 30 down to 5. It's amazing how quickly, when you have observers in the room, you can get those 30 down to 5 that shine. And that's what I'm trying to do, get more people into that short list and hopefully get them the job, because there's usually only one job, maybe two, out of that day.
Yeah.
So it's competitive. The biggest win, I think, is when you do a group activity. So we've got group activities that last about 25, 30 minutes. We separate that room of 30 into 4. Everyone will have to get involved. We talk about the observations of the ones that aren't ready to be involved and climb behind the back of those. We've all been there, I guess. You've got to really put yourself forward if you want the job. You have to show passion. So hiding behind 3 or 4 of your colleagues isn't going to work. So we do it in a really nice way. And we talk about we're just trying to get the best of you on the day. And workshops also cover what's known as the PACE values. And this is the takeaway, really. What are employers looking for? So the PACE values, what are we looking for? We're looking for passion, aren't we? We're looking to see if this individual really wants to get involved in our industry and what homework they've done for the interview. We want them to be reasonably articulate. They don't have to be doing a full presentation, but they do have to be confident enough for health and safety reasons as much as anything, to be able to talk to their manager, be confident with their colleagues. So articulate is part of the PACE values that we can work on. We can see where they are on the day, but we can improve them. The C part is imagine what customers think of you. So if you are an apprentice of 16, you will probably be introduced to customers quite early on. So when we're interviewing, we're trying to say, imagine what the customers think of you during this stage of an assessment centre. We're also talking about colleague fit.
Yeah.
So that's really important. So usually we know the team that they're going to go into. There's 5 or 6 colleagues, and they're going to be joining that team. And we want them to enhance it. We want them to have energy. We want that young feel to go back into a team that needs energising. And then E is all about enthusiasm. If you haven't got enthusiasm when you go to a mock assessment centre and an interview, you're not going to get the job. So we build the confidence, we build the passion, and we build the enthusiasm. The 3 questions that get asked at every interview. First of all, it's the icebreaker. So if you were now being interviewed, I would say, what do you like? What activities do you like doing outside of college? It's the easiest question you're ever going to get, but you'd be amazed how many people can't answer it. So we tutor and teach how to give that response in a good way, where they can deliver a good, articulate answer. The next one will probably be, why have you applied for this job? Or why do you want to work in this sector? So you have to research. You have to really prepare for the job that you're going for, research it, and make sure it's right for you. And then the third question, or a question later on in the interview process, will be, why should I pick you? It's a question none of us like, and it is the time when you can talk about yourself, bringing out the best of yourself to make that job option a reality. I also talk about one question that they should always ask. So a student going for an apprenticeship should always ask, what are the prospects for the job and career after the apprenticeship? And hopefully you'll get a good answer from the people that are interviewing, showing all of the scope. So the apprenticeship is just the start. We've already talked about all of the options. They can then show, actually, you can go, if it's in our industry, you can go into fleet, you can go into sales, you can go into technical, you can go into diagnostics. It's so broad. There's over 200 jobs in our industry alone that you think automotive, you think transport, you think logistics. There's well over 200 jobs that we can signpost people to now and after their apprenticeship. And it's about what suits them best.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, just to fly the flag for the work that you do, Lawrie, you've been part of the Institute of Road Transport Engineers Professional Sector Council for many years now. How can we continue to offer the industry awareness to students? Apparently, dashboards and signposts are the key.
They definitely are. Prop time. I mean, IRTA are great, and we've got some great brochures now. So actually, we signpost them on all the online things you can do, and that's the way it is nowadays. But actually, we also highlight all of the things to get prepared. So read journals, anything that's related to the industry you're going to. So this one is the IRTE magazine. There's a digital version of it. If you're into cars, there's so many cars, and I will ask a question on what's topical in the industry right now. The only way you will be able to answer that is by reading or learning and researching from this type of material. The great thing that we've got also is ERTEC. So ERTEC is what follows the apprenticeship that's real life enhancing to people in our industry. So imagine you're 16, you're going on a technical apprenticeship, perhaps an advanced level 3, and you finish at 21. ERTEC, if you get a level 3 and ERTEC combined, you are gold dust. It's exactly what we want in our industry. And then you'll probably go and do a level 4, level 5. You might specialise in diagnostic skills. You become really, really valuable, not only to yourself, but also to the company you're working for and the industry as a whole. And then your career opens up. You're probably doing a technical apprenticeship, you'll probably get your HGV driving licence or a PSV driving licence. Some will go on and do what's known as a CPC, Certificate of Professional Competence. Imagine someone who's 25 with a level 4, highly skilled technical diagnostic skills. It all started with an apprenticeship. If they then have the attitude of never compromise your O licence, that is a package that we really want and the industry really needs. So it's important. I've got a prop here, Emma, which I like to put on the table usually. I'm not going to give this one to you because I treasure it and I take it everywhere. And it's something that we need to talk about because, oh dear, it's still a bit dirty. So one question I will always ask is, in 2 minutes, tell me about what this object is and what it does. Now, some people don't think I should be doing this. I'm going to keep your table clean because we are in a world where we're in transition. In the UK, there are 42 million vehicles. 39 million of them still have pistons and internal combustion engines, and they're going to be around a long time. And most people that join our industry with a technical apprenticeship will be working on internal combustion engines. It's incredibly exciting of where it's going, electrification, autonomous vehicles, connectivity, all of these things are going to be really exciting to the 16-year-olds going ahead. But we also have to think about the here and now. People with diagnostic skills in our industry that can work the new systems that are out there. There's a massive skill shortage. This, you could say, is old technology. Some of it is actually really advanced, and some of the emissions now are really, really clean. But it's all in transition. We need to get someone with a broad brush approach. When you want an apprentice, you want someone that wants to be excited about all of it. Yeah. And there's a lot to be excited about.
Absolutely. Now, you just broached a very topical subject of skill shortage.
Yes.
How can apprentices help with that?
Massively. I mean, apprenticeships have gone up and down over the last few decades, but not in our industry. Our industry thrives on apprenticeship and input. We've just got to get more people that want to do it. We've always had apprentices. We've always needed them, but we need them even more now. So if we can open the eyes of the opportunities, apprenticeships are key to road transport, logistics and automotive. Where your passion is, if you're 16, 17 and watching this and you've got a passion for automotive, if it's cars, fantastic, that was my passion. But think a bit wider, think about trucks, think about buses, think about vans, because actually the opportunities are there, and some of the opportunities are even better because with the IRTE, you can be registered as an engineer. So you can go from technician, you become an eng tech when you get to a certain level, you can become an incorporated engineer, which is a level 6, and you can become a chartered engineer by being part of the Professional Engineering Institute that SOE is. So it's a message that's really encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
The options for young people is fantastic. So let's get the message out. Let's get more STEM ambassadors within IRTE that perhaps want to do something similar. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much, really, because you've given an opportunity to so many people that want to deliver STEM, but also we are then passing that on to the schools. But we need to do more. And now today is National Apprenticeship Day. It's the
Yes.
launch, 2026. Um, it's lots of things are going to come out this week. Lots of government papers. There's a lot going on. There's one thing we've got to plea. I've got a plea to the government: make it simpler to employ people. It's not that easy in many ways. And I think actually some of the press release this morning, they are addressing that.
Yeah.
But if there's one plea, let's make it easier for students to become apprentices, and let's make it easier for employers to employ them. And that sounds easy. It's not always easy, but it's the plea, I guess, that we need to get over, isn't it?
Definitely. Lawrie, thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you.
And to hear from someone who does so much for our apprentices, it's a huge benefit to our sector.
Thank you. Thank you so much.